Nerderotic.com.
Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I'm live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from Nerdrotic.com. And once again, I am with my good friend down in San Diego, flaming hot San Diego, Dennis Bithoulkas. What is up, Dennis?
Sweat my balls off.
Oh, wow. That's a little more information than we needed.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, at least you have balls to sweat off.
This is true.
Got to be grateful. Got to be grateful about things. Hey, we are not here to talk about your balls, believe it or not. We are here to talk about The Tick. Episode 2, Where's My Mind? And again, we were going back and forth on whether we should just do this all at once or do it episode by episode. And we're going to do it episode by episode. Call it a passion project. We love Ben Edlund. We are the presidents of the Ben Edlund fan club. We just started it right now. You can join if you want. This show is effing great. Okay, so if you're looking for us to bash it, it's not going to happen.
And there's spoilers too.
So there's tons of spoilers.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it and then come back to us.
Yes, we recap a little bit. We mostly review and just give us our thoughts. What gives us the right, besides having enough money to buy a microphone and an internet connection? Well, we're Americans and
we have opinions.
And not Americans, we're Americans. And we also have been Tick fans for our entire life, or not since the Tick has been around. And we are both recovering comic retailers. So yes, this is in our wheelhouse for sure. This is the greatest comic book parody ever made. And as we said in the last podcast, all 4 versions of the Tick are great on their own merit. And that is the comic book, that is the cartoon, the live action Fox series that was cut way too short, and now Amazon Prime doing a fantastic job. Actually, each version has gotten better. Now, the source material is still the best. Go and get the graphic novels from New England Comics. The Tick started out as a mascot for a newsletter for a comic shop. So it's turned into this industry, and it's actually, the Tick has had a booth at Comic-Con right dead center for as long as I can remember it being at the convention center, at the main convention center.
It's a little tiny booth. It's not big. It's very, very small.
But it sells the same, big spoon stickers, the T-shirts, and it's been doing well. We were fortunate enough to meet Ben Edlund there in 2016. Gracious man, nice man, funny. Thought I was there to kill him because I looked like a.
He got my Venture Brothers shirt reference too, which was
yes, he did. Yes. And apparently the guy who played Arthur was sitting there, and I had no effing idea, and he signed my comic book. Oh well, which I will pull up in a future. I said I was going to do it this podcast, but I'm not going to dig it out. It's right below my desk right here. If you are into this and you want to comment and subscribe to our channel, you could win prizes, which we will talk about at the end of the podcast. So, Where's My Mind? A great Pixies song, which was done at the end of Fight Club, which goes along with our theme of, is this the superhero Fight Club? Is the Tick in Arthur's head, Dennis?
Is he real or not?
Is he real or not? Well, we're not really sure, but we kind of get an answer this episode.
We do get an answer this episode.
We do.
Kind of, yeah. There's still some gray area in this. But we open up where episode 1 left off with the Pyramid Gang bursting into Arthur's apartment to get back the suit, shooting at him. And that's where we open up with episode 2. And we see Arthur get shot. Actually, the Tick monologuing on the roof about destiny and how, it's a new beginning and you have to grab it with both hands. He's going through all the different cliches of everything. And we see Arthur getting shot at in slow motion, and we see the bullet hit him in slow motion and crumple against the suit. He goes down. And that's when the Tick kind of stops and goes, maybe I'm wrong about this.
And so Arthur's being attacked by the Pyramid Gang, and Miss Lint, our new favorite villain, who has lost an eye. She's got a gnarly little scar, which looks a lot like a scar on another person we're going to meet later this episode too. which we're going to talk about. We get they're slowly introducing what is the best thing about the Tick is the cast of characters. Now, I don't know if we're going to get literal translations from every character. We have had some already, and you know, I don't think we're going to get American made, you know, Miss Liberty,
Lady Liberty, or
Lady Liberty. But or I hope we get Deflator. They'll probably just do, if they do Deflator Mouse, you know, I would love for there to be a Batman Well. We mentioned that last podcast. Batman Well was amazing in the Fox version. But Miss Lint is so funny. So I guess she could pop in different eyes. And when the
glass
Tick,
eye,
when the Tick goes down and starts taking on the Pyramid Gang, and she's shooting at him, he's like, watch out, she shoots glass eyes.
Yeah, because her eye pops out. she's concentrating so much on hitting him with lightning. And I love the thing she goes, why won't you die? Because I don't wanna.
Oh my god. And Miss Lint is just the epitome of just a rage on the verge of exploding, but you know, showing restraint. And it's so so funny, so friggin' funny. And the Tick just beats the crap out of everything. The Tick has he's super strong, he's bulletproof, he can't fly but he can leap. He's basically Superman, like Fleischer Superman. You know, not God Superman.
But dumb as a stump.
Dumb as a bag of hammers. He doesn't know where he came from, you know, even to Arthur. And they are actually making a mystery out of an interesting one about like where he came from. I hope they change it. I really do. We talked about it last podcast that in previous incarnations, he's been insane or he's been an annoying superhero that passed the academy, but was annoying the people at the bus stop he was defending, and they sent him to the city. So he just pops out of nowhere. We think he's in Arthur's head, but people are actually seeing him and interacting him. Now, the only interesting thing, I think, I was watching a behind the scenes about this, and they might have tipped off a little bit of what his origin might be, because they said, well, the Tick, they didn't say, oh, he's like a person who walked out of a comic book. No, they said, no, the Tick is literally somebody who's walked out of a comic book. So maybe, maybe
Arthur brought him to life with
his mind. You know, that's probably at the and then we got the speech.
Thinking.
That's what in the first episode we got the speeches. I'm the you've always wanted to be. So it's a corporeal Fight Club situation. You know. There you go.
Well, it also explains an episode 6 quote that we both liked from Walter, you know, or not from Walter, but the Tick with Walter that you actually quoted on Facebook, which kind of brings everything to light on that one. But we're not going to go into that one because.
But we can't talk about the costume now, because Arthur sees the Tick and he's all, yeah, you look different, and they change the costume from the pilot to second episode to more of a. Well, the first one was actually looked more like skin. It looked like a bad rubber costume. Now this one still looks like a bad costume, but he's got a gigantic codpiece, which is hilarious. And it's like more like plated. Yeah, it's plated and padding, and it's probably
bigger.
Yes,
the head and the eyes are bigger too. They look more like the Tick eyes from the comic.
Well, and it looks more like the like in the live action Fox, it was just open face.
Yeah.
In this one, he's actually got the mask on. And you know, we can't pronounce Peter something or other's last name. The guy who's playing,
I think.
What is it?
Ceranovich. That's what I'm just
going to go with Cernovich.
Yeah.
Related to Mike Cernovich? I hope not. He does the best Adam West ever, and the voice is so freaking good. And we mentioned it last podcast, but he is also the voice of Darth Maul, and he's voiced many other things, and also was in Guardians of the Galaxy. So he played one of the Nova Corps guys.
What a bunch of a-holes! You probably saw him in the trailer. You know,
yes,
what a bunch of a-holes. That was him.
Oh yeah. That trailer that they played a lot,
because he is British, so he does have a British accent, but he does an American accent flawlessly in this.
No, it's amazing. It's that guy's voice work is top notch. This is going to make him a big star. It seems like what I've noticed on the internet, the big sites, I don't know how it's doing on Rotten Tomatoes, but like everybody pretty much loves this. Even IO9 loved it, and I don't think they found anything wrong with. I'm sure the Tick is some form of, I don't know, part of the evil patriarchy, but I didn't read that far in IO9. I'm sure they found something wrong with it, though.
They will eventually.
They will eventually. So the Tick kicks everybody's ass in the apartment, and Arthur's apartment gets trashed.
And he throws Arthur out the window to save him.
Yeah.
And Arthur's on the third floor.
Yeah. And
he falls, and he can't fly because he tries to get the wings out in time, but he can't, and he falls and lands on top of a van. And he just realizes what kind of trouble he's in and just starts running.
Yeah. Yeah. Arthur does not want to be a hero. He was looking for the Terror, who killed his father, not totally on purpose. It was actually the Flag 5 ship that he knocked down that landed on his father. So in a roundabout way, the Terror killed his dad. So he wants to find the Terror and bring him to the authorities. The Tick is Destiny calling. The Tick talks to Destiny a lot, and she says hi, by the way.
There's quite a few good Destiny lines that they remine from the cartoons and also from the comics. And one of my favorite, of course, is Destiny is calling, and she's calling collect. Accept the charges, Arthur.
We go through 2 episodes. Do we want to spoil this? Okay, well, we don't hear Spoon once.
We don't.
So I think they're saving Spoon.
Saving it for the final.
Yeah. He's throwing out a lot of his other lines, but we don't get Spoon. And that was the first thing Logan noticed, son Logan.
You notice, this is not only just the origin of Arthur, but it's also the origin of the Tick as well.
Yeah. And a true origin at that.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're getting a little different from the comics and from the cartoon and from the previous live action series. Is we're actually getting an origin story, but told through a whole story. So we're getting multiple origin stories,
and when we're getting actual depth. Like you actually, by the end of this episode, you're starting to feel a little sorry for the Tick. Like something's really wrong with him. Be it brain damage or something, and there's something really wrong with Arthur. So we do feel bad for Arthur and his sister Dot, who is worried about him all the time, and it turns out that she's mixed up, and she's she's trying to become a doctor. She's a paramedic. She's going to school, and she helps sew up mob guys. She helps sew up the pyramid gang, she's mixed up.
Yeah, she does this. Basically, she's a roller derby. She on her part-time. She does roller derby for fun.
She's a paramedic who's also going to medical school, who happens to also be in roller derby, who's taking care of her little brother. Okay.
It's like, wow. Okay, we get
it. Maybe her name should be Mary Sue. I don't know. Sorry, but no, she's a good character. She's a good character, and. You actually, it's not a fake concern, and she could potentially be the most annoying character in this show, and she's not.
I'm thinking they might set her up, to tell you the truth. The way I've been looking at this, they could set her up for Arthur, going the hero's journey, and have her go the opposite and go the villain's journey.
Oh, that would be really well. Her healing up villains, maybe. And we also, with Miss Lint, as evil as she is, like, we like her. And I could see her flipping at some point, because she's totally likable. She's this angry, another person you feel sorry for. Like, she's got this badass power, but she needs these grounding bracelets, or the reason she's called Miss Lint is because she's like static electricity. So she's almost freaking she's got this douchebag ex-husband. But you know what? Named Derek, which is hilarious in itself. And so she's trying to get the suit. Now she's getting the suit. Arthur's suit was supposed to go to the Pyramid Gang. They need to get it for some reason. And Arthur was kind of following them and trying to figure out, well, what do they need? What do they need this for?
Well, Well, he was just trying to figure out if the terror was still alive. He was trying to find
Yeah.
evidence in the terror. The terror's still
And
alive, so he can send to Aegis. Aegis is the superhero
it's like
registration
Shield.
agency.
It's like it's a registration / Shield agency. He thinks the terror's still alive, and he's just underground, working, with this pyramid gang. And the guy running the pyramid gang, who we meet this episode, is Ramses the Fourth from Minnesota. uh, and he was okay. So he's following him because he's convinced that the terror is kind of running things from behind the scenes. So Miss Lint fails at getting the suit back, and she has to go and explain it to Ramses the Fourth. And his lines are pretty funny too. It's like, what's going on with all the failure going on here?
I don't think you're a team player because mainly you didn't get the tattoo. Is this about the fucking tattoo again? Yes.
Yeah, it's about the fucking tattoo. And everybody's got Ramses tattoos, and it's freaking horrible.
Which I see a great Comic-Con.
Oh God! Oh, totally. We should do that. For one, he's this bald guy who wears like, sweats, like hip hop sweatsuits, gold sweatsuits, and he's always drinking vitamin water, which was total placement, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
And it was so funny how they're practically holding up. Look at them drink the vitamin water.
Yeah, I'm sure that was done specifically for parody.
Yeah, totally. Which is like, oh my God, let's do a parody, but actually get the sponsor for it. Pretty genius, Amazon. Like, you need money. I'm surprised there isn't some kind of like tick, Oh my God, yeah, especially in this. It made me think in the 6th episode we get Alexi. Alexi's in it, and the way they use it is so goddamn funny.
Yeah.
But I digress. So she's got to explain to this douchebag, and this is the former right-hand woman,
the terror.
Terror, and she's like doing what this little douchebag says, and he needs to get the suit.
He's an arms dealer.
Yeah. And the tick stole it, gave it to Arthur. Do we find out this episode? Sorry if it spoils it because I watched it all at once. Did we find out about the operating system? And it's in
no,
Ukraine.
We don't find that until well, we do see that the operating system is in another language. At least we can't really tell what it is, and it doesn't talk as of yet.
So. No, not yet. But unlike in previous incarnations, it's just this accountant who's wants to be a superhero, who has no business being a superhero, and wears the costume all the time, even when he goes to work.
Well, he wants to give the costume back. Actually, he's
very reluctant.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God. He goes, I got to give it back, and he runs into the store that we were in previously that we saw pay out their protection money, and he steals a poncho. And again, we're not sure if the tick is real or not because the tick follows him in. He's like, what are you doing? We don't have time to actually restock the ponchos in the store. He doesn't realize that Arthur is trying to steal a poncho to cover over the suit so that he doesn't get killed. The store's owner comes back there and says, what are you doing? You're stealing from me? And he goes, and then he turns around and the tick is gone again. He just vanishes. And it's like, what the hell, So we're still trying to figure out if the tick is real or not at this point. And Arthur walks out with the poncho, puts it on. It's a bright blue poncho, the same color as the tick. Yep. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did notice that.
Yeah. And that's when the tick shows up again. And he's having the whole conversation. He goes, you survived getting hit by lightning, bullets. You had a 3-story drop, and look at you. You're still alive like a daisy.
Don't we also, when Arthur is putting on the poncho, we see a scene through like a gun sight, some crosshairs. Yes. And
we see somebody on the roof looking.
Somebody on the roof is watching both of them, or one of them, depending on if the tick is real or not.
Actually, we only see Arthur because again.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. We only see him through Arthur. That's right. And Arthur's just trying to cover this up and get the hell away. Arthur, we're going through the hero's journey, and how we know this is the tick is narrating it as it's going on. He's all, this is the reluctant, the reluctant part of the hero's journey.
There are so many layers to this show. I mean, it's superhero parody, but it's also parody of the hero's journey. It's also, mental health. Statements on mental health, and then also. I mean, just it could be looked at as just a regular comedy as well. It's got so many different levels to it, and it just depends on how you want to interact with it.
Yeah. Oh, and it's also a parody of just violent, of action movies and just the violence in cinema,
And the
which is
absurdity of some things too.
and
Yes.
yeah, and well, and just yeah, and well, it's parodying technology, everything, everything that's going on right now, and it fits so perfect. Um, yeah, it's almost like it was ahead of its time at the time,
It was. Oh, it
Um,
definitely was. Yeah.
yeah, because it seems like the Tick was made, the Tick, remember, the Tick came out in the early 90s. So we were parodying comic books back then.
Hmm.
And now he's got all these movies to parody. So it's like, there's a Tick for every era, I guess. And this is perfect. And it can be more biting than Watchmen, in its cynicism and its commentary as well, too. Just funnier. It's way funnier than Watchmen, that's
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah. So at this point, where Arthur and the Tick are, talking still in the alleyway, and it's where Arthur starts having flashbacks of all the times that he's heard the Tick's voice, from when he's a child to when he first sees the Tick, on the warehouse, outside the warehouse, and all this stuff, and he realizes, oh my God, I'm seeing things again. I'm starting to see stuff. I'm starting to hallucinate. And he freaks out and starts walking away. And he's walking towards his apartment because, he's been thrown out of it at this point, thrown out the window. And the Tick is following him, trying to talk to him, and he's just ignoring him. And this is where Dot shows up and says, "Hey, you haven't been calling. You haven't. I've been calling you. You haven't answered. You haven't texted back. And this isn't what normal does. Remember what normal does?" Or we were seeing this mantra that they've worked out a little bit. And that's when the Tick shows up, walks up, and Tick starts talking. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's talking to Dot, and he turns to the Tick and goes, "Tick, she can't see you. You're a figment of my imagination. So just shut up." And that's when Dot goes, "No, I see him."
Yeah, I can see him.
Yeah. And
So,
that's our first confirmation that he's real.
yep. So they went pretty far with it, but like I said, I would have been okay if they found a way to be. I mean, it would have been way too hard, and
Mhm.
but especially since he did interact with Miss Lint and everything. But
Yeah.
and they said the big blue guy, but we still don't know. I still think he came out of Arthur's head at this point.
Yes, me too.
And we've seen all the episodes, and I don't think anything is going to change my mind. I'll rewatch them again before we do our future podcasts on this. But yeah, and she's just like, "Oh, hello," and what does he call her? Spot.
Spot. He goes, "Well, how do you know this person?" And he goes, "Oh, this is Dot. This is my sister. We go back a long ways."
Oh man. So yeah, I guess yeah, you're gonna have to refresh my memory. What happens again? I binge watched it.
So this is where Arthur wants to return the suit,
Yes.
and runs into the Pyramid Gang. They're actually driving by his house again. He runs out and he's like, "Guys, I want to give you back the suit." And they're like, "Okay, little guy, get inside the car." And he goes, "Oh, and by the way, can you not kill me?" And the guy in the backseat goes, "We can call it in and we can ask."
We can ask. Yeah, and that's when the Tick lifts up the car and just dumps him down the street, and that's
Yeah.
when he starts his hero's journey.
Yes. You got villainy on the run, chum.
He's all, "Chum is what you feed sharks."
And also an endearing friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many good lines. So many good lines. And so we end with this episode with Arthur in an alleyway
Yep.
being confronted by this shadowy figure that we see with the
No,
scope.
where does the Tick go at this point? So after
He is gone to go and patrol. I think he was going to. Oh, now I forgot. Wow, bad on me on that one. I believe he was going to go patrol. That's right. He was going to go out and patrol because he's supposed to patrol the building first, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to protect the block."
Yeah, so I thought he was going to go investigate the gang, maybe, and is that where he gets lost in the bus stop for 28 minutes, a half an hour, or something like that?
No,
Yeah,
that's later on. Yeah.
So the tick takes off again. Arthur still doesn't want anything to do with him at this point, but he thinks he should be, on the case. He's like, listen, you need to be on the case. I don't, and I need to take off, and I need to get rid of this suit. And he's just trying to find a way to take it off. And by the way, Dot sees the suit on him,
and questions why he has this suit on and what's going on. Why are you dressed like that? That's not normal.
Yeah, this is not normal. So he ends up in an alley situation, and he's about the pyramid gang catches up to him again, and I guess it's I don't know, I can't remember how they caught up to him again. It must have been that homing
radar,
that homing beacon,
and he gets saved by the guy who is with the scope that we saw. He pops down again and just starts killing people in a very violent manner.
Dude, just chopping people up, and like each shot has like blood just spraying out. It's
and hitting his poncho, hitting Arthur's poncho repeatedly, which I was laughing my ass off. I don't know about you, because he kept trying to dodge it, and it was just like, and it was purposely just. They must have had fun when they were just squirting him with this stuff, because they've seen him dodge and then squirting him with the blood.
It reminded me of a lot of Ash vs. Evil Dead, and also of Django. Every time a shot happened in Django, it just like, so every time the knife went in, it was hilarious and gross. And that's why that's what makes this so cool. They go over the top on everything except the little dramatic moments. That's when they reel it back in. That's why this is like finesse. Yeah, this is so well done. I think you're going to change your mind on it when you watch it again. You have watched it a lot, and it depends on. It really does depend on the next 6 episodes, but so far, so freaking good. And Arthur ends up getting saved by a mysterious character,
a mysterious figure in black,
Punisher, and Deadpool, and
the reason why he saves him is he turns to him and goes, "Give me the suit," because he wants the suit.
Yes, he wants the suit.
And Arthur is really going to give him the suit, because at this point he's going to give the suit to anybody who will take it. Off of him. And that's when the cops show up, because there was gunfire and knife, and all that kind of stuff, screaming. And the figure in black looks over at the oncoming cop car and just says, "Shit," and grapple guns out of the alleyway. And the cops come, and they've got their guns out because they see these bodies littering the ground in the alley, and just Arthur laying, standing there in this blood-covered poncho, and they're pointing the gun at him, and he goes, and he puts his hands up. He goes, "I give up. I give up. I invoke Amendment 20, the 28th Amendment, Murphy's Law." And that's when we hear the cops radio in, and they go, we got another superhero here, or we have a superhero here. And that's where we end.
And that's where the episode ends. And these episodes are 28, 27 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's perfection. It's perfection. Yeah. It's pretty much, that's essentially the size of a comic book, give or take a couple pages. Each page of script is a minute of screen time. Yep. So you're pretty much looking at the size of a comic book being done each, and I'm sure that was dealt and
it was done by design.
Yeah, totally. And with Ash vs. Evil Dead, these half an hour shows are really working for me. I don't know. Yeah. I think it depends on the show. I wouldn't want like a Batman TV series like that, but a lot of stuff, especially on the comedy side, it really works. If they did a live action Venture Brothers, do a half an hour thing.
Half an hour easily.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. I don't know if you could pull that off, but
I would rather see a movie of the Venture Brothers, because I think that's what you just need, is like a 90-minute movie.
And we both favor television at this point, but I think that would be a better movie. I think you're right. If you're a fan of the Venture Brothers, if you're just a flaming carrot, if you're like, this is in your wheelhouse. If you're just like, it is, in a way, it's good, clean humor. There's no dick or fart jokes. It's just, it's fun. So there is like a goodness behind this, even though with the violence and the scary death, there's a wholesomeness behind the Tick and the storytelling that's so cool.
You actually brought up Flaming Carrot and Mystery Men. There was a movie called Mystery Men with Ben Stiller back in the 90s, which is also a superhero movie. Great movie. This comic actually came out around the same time as Flaming Carrot, and they were both parodies of this stuff. So that's when we were starting to get a whole bunch of parody comics coming out because the industry had gone so gonzo over the top, and then reeled itself back in with Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, things like that we had nowhere to go except into the parody realm to kind of get fresh material, if you will.
Oh yeah,
and it worked perfectly.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Space Beaver, Derek Robertson, Space Beaver. And even Marvel. Where do you think Rocket Raccoon came from? It's all of this that parody animal thing that was going on late 80s, early 90s. Did the Tick fight Overkill in the second episode, or was it the third episode?
Third episode.
That was the third episode. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, a brain farted there. I was thinking about when he touched his antenna. He's all sensitive. We'll talk about that next podcast.
Yeah, and the Tick the comic actually spawned a couple of offshoots as well. They had Paul the Samurai and the Chainsaw Vigilante, which was a direct, homage and parody of the Punisher. It was funny, really, really funny.
So, which is this character who shows up at the end of this one is pretty much probably an amalgamation of that and another character. And he might have connections to yet another character, which we will talk about in future episodes. So there's actually, you think, and we even thought this, like, well, how are we going to podcast about this? But there's so much, what you said earlier, there's so many layers in this that, like, I'm going to go back and catch stuff that I didn't catch before, even after watching it 3 times.
Yeah.
So, this is definitely, if you're wavering, it's 3 hours of your time. It's better than any damn movie. That's Oh my God. My wife is messaging during podcasts. I'm gotta ignore that. Sorry. This is better than any movie that's going to come out. I think, it doesn't Inhumans come out this weekend?
September 1st. Yes. It's on IMAX.
Stay home and watch The Tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to see the Inhumans for free anyway on TV.
Yeah.
At the end of the month.
I'm probably going to go though. For the sake of this podcast, I'm going to go. So any final thoughts, Dennis?
Don't let the door hit. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's do a little station identification before we do that.
Oh yeah.
We're going to talk about that. Ooh, and I got some dogs howling, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're going to gather up some prizes for you and a $20 Amazon gift card. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Nerdrotic channel, and you comment, you will be in the running, and we will announce the winner on our 6th podcast, which we'll be podcasting the 6th episode. There was only 6 episodes. You can find all of our videos and podcasts at nerdrotic.com. All of our links are in the description below, be it on YouTube or the website. Dennis and I both have Twitter. I'm at Nerdrotics. Dennis is at The Force, and everybody else's Twitter is in that link below. We do have a Facebook page that we'd like you to like. It is the Nerdrotic Podcast. Please comment. Come on over, say hi, interact. If somebody wants to be on a podcast, somebody wants to ask us questions, please do interact. It is great. We love it. And we want to hear more from you guys. So we will be back very, very soon with the 3rd episode, because we are going to be recapping all 6 individually. So yeah, that's it. Take us out, Dennis.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
And may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Good night, everybody. Spoon!
You have been listening to a Nerdrotic podcast. Please subscribe.